Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm John Gray, and we're just plain living here.
Good morning, Peggy Burton.
And I'm Jim Fuller.
How good to see you guys.
You too.
Live and
How's
well.
that wrist doing?
You know, it's become a good, it's become a puppet. They're telling me back here that I should paint it up and put eyes on it and put a tail on it and be a squirrel.
Yeah, it could be a squirrel.
And it can talk. Makes great
and
shadows on the wall.
How long have you had that now?
It seems like since last year.
Yeah.
I think it's been 5 weeks. This week, 5 weeks.
My, how time flies when you're having fun.
I know. It's okay. It's doing better.
You had some kinfolks come by this weekend,
I did, and I had a great time. Well, I love it when they come because we go back into time.
Back in time.
Many years. Many years.
Did you learn anything new?
Lots of things.
Good.
I mean,
she did, but she doesn't remember them.
Yeah, I can't remember.
She can't remember.
I learned all these old things that are new to me.
Right.
And that's always good.
It is good. It is good.
It started out with, I have this great-grandfather, and his name was Polk Robinson. James K. Polk Robinson.
Oh, my, what a name.
Yeah. Anyway, he was quite a man.
I bet he was. Was your son here? Was Bart here?
No.
Was your grandson here?
No, they're in Virginia marching in the band and those kind of things. They can't.
I just think
they can't come to everything.
I can remember listening.
I wish they could have been there.
I can remember listening to I wrote something one time called The Old Willow Tree because that's what was behind my grandmother's house. And
yeah.
One of the favorite lines I've ever written is Grandpa and Uncle Bunch taking turns cranking ice cream because they'd sit on it because there was no air conditioning back then.
Right.
And this was in Oak Ridge, and everything took place under that big willow tree in the backyard. And so when they'd come in from work and want to make ice cream, well, they said they had those chairs. Remember those metal chairs that had spring, and they'd take the ice cream out there and taking turns cranking till the ice cream was done.
You had an uncle.
Telling tales and laughing about the way things were back then as we rode the threads of time on the yarns they would spin. That's one of the favorite lines I've ever written.
That is really nice.
I love that line.
I love that
but that's what
too.
The kids, we'd be laying on the grass listening to those old guys telling all their stories and stuff. And it's just amazing to be able to be around your people and listen to the tales.
And I'm afraid that in this day and time, the young people aren't listening because they're listening to, whatever's out there on Facebook or, that they can hear on their earphones or whatever.
Or they're playing some kind of game on their phone.
Yeah, and so
I saw something the other day. And I might have mentioned this before, where it showed kids using devices. Different ones, different places, different families. One of them was a kid laying on the couch, and their parents came in the room, dressed as a clown.
And they didn't even notice. One of them even walked a pony in past these children, and it showed different things that they did. And these kids were just zoned out. They had no idea what was happening within 2 or 3 feet of them. I could make a commercial out of that. That's really good. I love that.
Yeah, my oldest granddaughter's like that today. But I mean, she loves to read. And she'll be reading.
She gets engrossed in the book.
She totally tunes out everything around her.
It's wonderful, though, that she loves to read.
Yeah.
Lots of
that's better than playing some game.
Although they tell me that I used to be that way.
Really?
Yeah, that I would, I'm talking about, when I was a young adult and she was a small child, that I was always that way, that I'd get to reading the newspaper or something and I would tune them out because when she was about 16, she apparently was telling me something and I'm reading the paper and I'm not paying any attention. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden she says, "Hey, Dad, I'm pregnant."
Did you wake up then?
I immediately paid attention. Yeah. She wasn't, by the way.
That would do it.
Yeah.
Did your child pay attention to you growing up?
Yeah, we didn't have games and stuff. We didn't, and of course back then, I don't think I had a cell phone. I mean, a cell phone looked like looked like a travel case. They were this big and had big batteries and stuff, or car phones. I remember Jimmy had a car phone at
And that
one
was
time.
almost a first, wasn't it?
It was the bag phones, yeah. Actually, it's still in one of my vehicles and probably still works to call 911, I think.
But so we didn't have Game Boy and all that, Xbox and all that stuff. We went out to the shop and built things, and
That's what my cousins did. They could build
Jacob was always
everything,
wanting to do. He's always wanting to do something with his hands. He didn't care for that other stuff at all very much.
He's a neat guy.
Duct tape and screwdrivers.
And he
and,
had to do
it's
things
like
that.
Elijah. First time I met Elijah, he'll be on the show here in a minute. He walked into South Jackson and he was about that tall and he had a little tool belt on with screwdrivers. And I looked at him and he was going around checking the doorknobs and tightening the screws on them. And he was about 6 years old or 5 or something like that. So I'm gonna tighten this place up. I said, "What are you doing, Elijah?" "I'm tightening this place up."
I know. Isn't that great?
And there's certain people that are bent that way, and and it's wonderful. We couldn't survive without people like Elijah and the Jacobs and people of the world who like fixing stuff and creating things.
No, and in my day, who are you going to call? My father. He was the one. He was the one that fixed everything in the whole entire community.
Yeah.
So that was important to be able to fix
that
something.
is the issue these days. It's hard to find people that know how to do stuff. Just minor stuff around the house. And,
for the past two generations, we've
so.
convinced ourselves that every child born is supposed to get a college degree and come out with a general business or a general arts degree, and there's nowhere for them to work because there's no jobs for them. And yet the people at the trade center over here are hiring everybody that they can graduate has a job starting in between $45,000 and $60,000 a year.
Yeah.
And he could graduate and employ 3 times more people if he had the space.
If he had the space.
And I was talking to Shannon Long was in here yesterday afternoon, an electrician who teaches over there, and he said they had just gotten some money to build a big addition where they'll be able to probably double the size of the people they can educate. And they all walk out with a job.
And they walk out with a
good job.
That's great.
You don't know how good a job it is? Call a plumber and see what you have to pay them.
That's the truth.
Exactly.
Or an electrician.
Or an electrician or somebody to dig a straight ditch.
Somebody,
they can get all
somebody
they
to
want.
hang a picture on your wall. I mean,
All they want, folks.
I saw a piece on television actually this morning where there's a tremendous shortage in truck drivers in this country. And
I can see why.
It's hard work.
I wouldn't want to do it.
So consequently, now people that are in their 70s and older are learning for the first time how to do that because there's such a demand for doing that, and people that have done it all their life already are not retiring because
they can't. We wouldn't eat. Nobody brings groceries to the grocery store.
It's like that's a tremendously important part of our
it is hugely
economy. So.
It seems like there's a lot of jobs out there if people just had a little bit of training and were willing to say, okay, I want to learn to do this and that.
Peggy, most of those jobs out there involve one thing that a lot of people don't want to do, and as Maynard G. Krebs used to say, work. People want a position. People don't want to work anymore. They want a job and a position.
And there's still some that want to work. And I have to stop and think about, let's say you live in a huge apartment complex in New York City. That's kind of...
that sounds like fun.
Well, but a low-quality type place where, you don't have a car, you don't have this, and you don't have that, and it's hard to get to a job.
Yeah.
So there are different factors that factor into every situation. But we need some kind of workforce that people can be on the payroll without having the money given to them, to work for what they get.
Sure.
Because I think people want to.
Well, it makes you feel good. It makes you feel proud.
Yeah.
Makes you feel proud. So anyway.
Speaking about Elijah, I know y'all will probably talk about this in a minute, but South Jackson's PAC group, November 4th, 5th, 11th, and 12th, is producing Peter and the Starcatcher.
And the 6th and 13th, which is Sunday, and that's going to be I think I have that right, 2:30 performance.
So I'll leave that here for you to...
And I'm bringing a whole pack of people.
He's leaving that for you in case you forget between now and the time.
I won't forget.
Well, no, she might want to show it again
because
our buddy Elijah out here, he's greatly involved in what goes on at South Jackson, and amazing for a young man like him to have the skills he has.
I think it's nice that we have this kind of performance, which is basically for young people. I like to go and see it because I bring some young people in my family.
Right.
And we have fun. We go to eat, and then we go see the play, and we're excited.
If you folks out there don't understand what this is about Peter Pan. And so if you're a Peter Pan person and love all of that, and this is a spinoff of Peter Pan, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So it'd be interesting. Very good.
It'd be a great
Something else
show.
while we're here in this part of the segment is I want to say that October the 27th, right here's a big list. This will be in the paper, and it's here of the businesses that will be involved in the downtown ribbon cutting for the revitalization of downtown.
And that's a thing where you've got some musicians.
We got some musicians around on the street down there. It's going to be from noon till 6 o'clock, and there's, a huge amount of businesses. I don't have time to read all of them right now, but downtown merchants and people, everybody from Clayton's to Couches to Emil's to Sundrop to the new
the Avenue,
Spinelli's Pizzeria, the Avenues, all those people in the Avenues, Builder Supply, Giles Dunn, London's. I mean, it just goes on and on about all the people that are involved in this, and everybody's put in a gift certificate or a product, and there's going to be $1,500 worth of door prizes.
Good.
And there'll be 2 baskets, and 2 people will win that.
And this is free and open to the public?
It's free. It's open to the public. The ribbon cutting of downtown will be at 4 o'clock, and I think the Chamber of Commerce is going to have their ribbon cutting on their new facility that day as well.
Great.
So I think Lincoln Street's going to be blocked off for the afternoon, and all the merchants are going to be out and having fun and have deals. The restaurants are going to have deals on food items, and the merchants are having deals, and there'll be a little fishbowl in every store, and put your name in there, and we'll have a drawing. And somebody's going to win a big bunch of stuff. And how great for Christmas time coming up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
And,
so
the downtown area is really, there's a lot more stuff in the downtown area.
And
it has more
lately.
Retail down there now than it has in years and years and years. So that's a week from Thursday from noon until 6 o'clock downtown Tullahoma. Come on down and celebrate with us and have fun down there. It'll be a great time. With that said, we'll be right back after this short commercial break with a genius, Elijah. Elijah's coming.
Are we writing a new song?
In a minute.
All I have to do to think about what I was physically before and what I am now, and I don't ever want to go back to that original situation.
The overall mission of the rehab team is always what is best for the patient and how we can facilitate maximum potential from every resident.
Well, the most important thing to me is that I'm allowed to do whatever I want to do,
Everyday Miracles, Life Care Center of Tullahoma.
The Tullahoma Animal Shelter's 13th annual Bark in the Park fundraiser is Saturday, October 29th from 10 to 2 at Wagner Park. It's a day of family fun to raise money for medical care for dogs in the no-kill shelter. Sponsorships, silent auction items, and volunteers are needed. Admission is free and tickets are available for games and food. If you'd like to help out, contact Teresa Holt, 931-454-9580, Animal Control at tullahomatn.gov, or visit the website
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
Welcome back. You're going to be glad you hung around because I have Elijah Kidd with me today. You want to say hello, Elijah?
Hello.
We've known Elijah around South Jackson Civic Center for a couple or 3 years. How long have you been over there?
I think 3-4 years maybe.
3 or 4 years. Can you tell me exactly what got you interested in coming to South Jackson?
Well, we came there for a play, and then when I saw Rob back there doing the lights, I like technical stuff like the lights.
Okay.
And I asked him what he was doing, and then that's how it all got started, and he told me how to do it.
So you have done South Jackson Goes Country, right?
Yes.
Was that hard?
Not really.
Not really.
No.
And you're talking about Mr. Rob Allen, he had taught you how to run, because I've seen you going up front, plugging things in, and you seem to know all about it. And that's where you first got interested?
Yeah.
And I love that. And if you were to try to tell me what you wanted to be when you got older, what would that be?
I mean, maybe like a lighting director like Rob.
That's a good ambition, and I feel sure you can do it. And do you know what a lighting director does? What would you think he does?
You before the show, make sure all the lights are working and running, and he makes sure everyone's in their light, and
everyone is in a certain light.
Certain light in place.
And then you, at this great big board with all these things on it that I don't have a clue about, know which one to push to get the right area of the stage. Is that correct?
Yes.
I love it. I love it. And I love that you love doing that. It means a lot to me that we take young people and allow them to use their brain. So that is good. You're in the 4th grade now, aren't you?
Yes.
What do you think that, I'm going to change the subject. We are about ready for a national election, and I don't want you to tell me who you're for or who you're not for, but if you were running for the President of the United States, which might happen, do you know what one of the first things you might try to do?
Not really.
Light it up, right?
Yeah.
Light up the country.
Yeah.
That would be good. That would be great. What are you studying in school?
Math, and social studies about the Indians.
Yeah. That's the American Indians.
And in science, we're studying about plant cells and animal cells.
Which do you like the best?
Out of all the subjects, I like science the best. Social studies second best.
Second best. Well, there's a lot to learn there. Now, I know you're involved in Peter and the Starcatcher.
Yes.
So we want to make sure people know about that. What are you playing in this?
I am playing one of the little boys, one of the children.
One of the children. And do you have a lot of dialogue?
Yeah, I think so.
Can you remember any of it?
I can remember 2 of my lines.
You want to say them for me?
One of them's at the start and one of them's in between it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Give me your lines.
One of them is high as a cloud and lighter than air.
Higher than a cloud?
High as a cloud.
High as a cloud and lighter than air. What do you think that means?
I don't really know. Like you're maybe a feather high as a cloud, but you're lighter than the air.
Which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
You feel like you're free. Maybe if you're flying or something like that, you feel a freedom. And this play, you were going to tell me how much it costs to get in.
Yeah. On November 4th and 5th, first and second weekend of November, on Fridays and Saturdays, it is 15 at 7 p.m., 15 for adults, 10 for 18 and under. And on Sundays, it's 2:30 to 2 p.m.
2:30 p.m. is correct.
Yeah, 2:30.
And it's the same price.
Yes.
And to get tickets, do you remember the phone number?
455
5321. That's kind of easy. 455-5321. And if you don't live in Tullahoma, 931-455-5321. And it's a great play to bring children to, and I go because I'm going to love it. Is this a musical? Is there any singing in this?
There is singing in it.
Okay.
But I'm not sure if it's a musical or not.
Just some singing?
Yeah.
And are you in any of the singing scenes?
Yes, I think so.
You think you're singing a little bit? And who's doing the lighting for this?
I think Rob, I'm not sure, because he might have someone else do it since he has to just run all over the place.
And is he directing? Or is Eric?
He is directing.
He is directing. And have you noticed that it's not just the people on stage that are important? A lot of people that are important. Number one, the lighting director.
Number two, sound.
Sound is awesome. You've got to have a good sound person and that knows how to work all those little. Have you done any sound?
Some, but not at an actual play.
Do you find yourself interested in doing sound, or you just mainly?
Once I'm done with the lighting.
You're going to learn to do sound.
Yes.
Well, I think that would be good because it's a hard job.
Yeah.
And you have to have a good ear, especially when you're blending voices and. This person speaks real soft, and this one's real loud, so you got to know when to turn it up and when to turn it down.
Yeah.
And, okay. You thought about college yet?
No.
You must have a really good mom and dad. What's your mom and dad's name?
Gary and Tammy.
And because they seem to support you in what you want to do, and I love that because people need to recognize talents in their children. Is there anything special about them you'd like to tell? Are they good to you?
Well, they're good to me, yeah.
Because they're not, we're going to have them locked up. Do you have any sisters and brothers?
One sister, Casey. She's in the play, too.
Good.
She's Grimkin, the teacher.
Oh, great. How much older than you is she?
She's 14.
She's 14. And then it's just the two of you?
Yeah.
You came along a little few years after her.
Mm-hmm.
And you get along good with your sister, I'll bet. You fight a little bit?
Fight a little bit, yeah.
I used to fight a little bit with my sister. And then when she went away to college, I cried and cried into the night, and we kind of quit fighting after that. But I have loved having you here today. Is there anything you'd just like to tell, just on your own?
Not really, but I remembered another one of my lines.
Okay.
Led by one Lieutenant Gregors, ready to accompany Lord Leonard Astor to Her Majesty's vessel, the Wasp.
Oh my goodness, that's a lot of words. Good job. So you have several lines in this play.
Everyone has several lines, basically.
Do you find yourself, do you love being on stage or at the light board more?
Well, at the light board more, but I'll be on stage.
You enjoy that too?
Yeah.
And
sometimes I have to sneak on stage behind everybody because one of the lights isn't working.
But you can do that because I've seen you do that.
Yeah.
Well, Elijah Kidd, thank you for coming. I love what you do, and I love what you represent in the 4th grade in Tullahoma. We'll be back.
Hi, I'm Mike Winton, and I'm running for State Senate for the 16th District of Tennessee. Raised by a single mother who worked multiple jobs to raise our family, I understand the value of hard work and the obstacles met by many members of this district. Because of this, I'm committed to ensuring that you have access to education and health care. Whether I'm on a mission trip or running my business, I always remember it's about our witness and not about me. Be sure to vote for me, Mike Winton, so that our district can win with Winton.
This ad paid for by the candidate.
I see a train a-coming, it's rolling up the track, and it looks like that train's loaded with a real good Democrat. Mike's headed up to Nashville, that's where we need him to be. And if we all vote for Winton, we'll finally have a state senator who really represents you and me.
Be sure to vote for me, Mike Winton, so that our district can win with Winton.
Here
at Manchester Funeral Home, we know the importance of living and working in our local community because it's those families who we serve during their time of need honorably. We believe in supporting local business and offer only 100% Batesville caskets, the best in the industry and a driver of our local economy. If you want straightforward and fair pricing while working with the people you know, choose Manchester Funeral Home, serving your community since 1932. And pre-planning and pre-funding can be the best gift you ever leave your loved ones. Call us to pre-arrange. Manchester Funeral Home. Our family caring for your family since 1932.
If you want to be a parent, it doesn't matter how you play, what you wear, how you dance, or even what direction life takes you. You just need to be there. You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care don't need perfection. They just need you.
How long has it been since you raced a cheetah? Are your tornado creating skills getting rusty? Tired of being the only one in your neighborhood who hasn't built a dinosaur? Sounds like it's time to visit the Hands-On Science Center. The Hands-On Science Center is an indoor science playground. In this museum, please touch is the rule. Join us for weekly science demonstrations on space, lasers, lizards, rocks, and a whole lot more. No two visits are ever the same, so visit often to see our ever-changing exhibits and demonstrations. The Hands-On Science Center, 101 Mitchell Boulevard in Tullahoma.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're pleased to have joining us now from the Tullahoma Animal Shelter, Teresa and Jacob. And Jacob's been here on a regular basis, I think.
Yes.
Much. Yes. Okay. And today he's going to share the spotlight with Teresa because we got some big things that we want to talk about coming up relative to the animal shelter. However, first of all, we have our featured pet, and it's got the cutest name, I think. And his name is
Stewie.
Stewie, yes, I like that name. And Stewie, of course, is available for adoption at the Tullahoma Animal Shelter, is our featured pet this week. Tell us a little bit about Stewie.
He's about 10 months old. He's up to date on all of his shots and vaccinations, and he's already neutered. So his adoption fee is only $10.
Yeah, okay.
He's a really good, mellow little dog.
And he's been very, very well behaved here in the studio this morning. I have to say, what kind of dog is Stewie?
We think he
possibly a Dachshund mix.
Yeah.
Might have a little Min Pin or maybe even some Doberman, but we do think he's going to remain about the same size. Just maybe
How old
how
do you think he's about 10 months old?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And how did Stewie end up in the shelter?
He was a stray that we picked up.
He was a stray, okay. All right. How long has he been there?
Since
2 months.
2 months.
2 months, okay. So he's probably ready to move on now, isn't he?
He is.
Yeah, okay. However, one of the neat things I think about the Tullahoma Animal Shelter is they can stay there as long as they need to.
Yes, and we're very proud of that fact.
Okay, yeah, that's one of the neat things about it. This is a no-kill shelter. So.
Yes, and even after adoption, if there are problems, say if you adopt Stewie and he doesn't work out in your home, because we want it to be a good fit for everyone, that dog always has a place to come back to.
Right.
For the rest of his life.
One thing that I've always been impressed about is you guys have a name for every pet that's in that shelter. Now, who comes up with all the names?
We all do.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So is that one of the first things you do when they come in, you give them a name?
They get a name before they get a case number.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Well, that is very, very neat thing to do. I know the shelter. We're going to talk about some fundraising issues here in just a second. But right now, the shelter houses about how many pets?
Right now, we have about 50.
Okay.
We have been as high as 89. And as low as about 26. So we're right in the middle. We'd like to be a little bit lower than we are now.
But you guys are pretty aggressive, and I know work very, very hard to get these pets a home, do you not?
Yes, we do. We have a great team of 4 of us. There's Jacob. I have another officer, Sam Sales, and then a wonderful shelter attendant, Alicia Davis. She knows every pet, all their characteristics, how they are with children and other dogs. And you come into our shelter and visit with Alicia, and she's going to make sure it's the right match.
Right.
And then if it's for some reason it's not, you can bring the dog back.
And that's a pretty important thing, to make sure you match up the dog.
Yes.
With the
very important. And sometimes you don't get it quite right on the first time, but we work with families until we do get it right.
Okay, coming up, I think pretty soon, maybe next week or somewhere in that neighborhood, Bark in the Park. Tell us about that.
Yes, Bark in the Park is our 13th annual.
Yeah.
And we're going to be holding it October 29th at Wagner Park from 10 to 2. This year we do have a Halloween theme. And you may have seen this in the background on some of our commercials, but this is the Bark in the Park t-shirts this year.
Oh, cool.
As always, designed by Donna and Phil Petty at the Sweatshop.
Uh-huh.
And we have some great new things this year.
Uh-huh.
Kind of rethought Bark in the Park a little bit this year. It's our 13th year. We're going Halloween theme. We're not doing any vaccinations, no microchips. That's not fun for a dog.
Right.
So we're going to have more dog games and contests, and we're going to have more booths set up. And one of the things that I'm really looking forward to, instead of a cakewalk, it's going to be a pup cakewalk.
Yeah, cool.
So they get pup cakes, and we'll have the bobbing for weenies, and we're going to have the bubble machine going, along with 8 contests. And this year we're going to have 3 crownings. We're going to have a Mr. and Miss Halloween, Halloween, and then a Mr. and Miss Junior Tullahoma Canine, 5 years and under, as well as a senior Tullahoma Canine, Mr. and Miss 6 years and older.
Okay.
And we have a lot of businesses that have been generously to donate to our silent auction. One important thing I would like for all your viewers to know is that you will see this up by a jar at the admissions table where you buy your tickets and your t-shirt. And we have a wonderful person in the community who has agreed to match up to $5,000 every donation in that jar.
Oh, okay. Good.
So we want as much money as possible to go in that jar on the day of Bark in the Park.
And is this relative to, I think you use the money in Bark in the Park for medical care for the animals?
Yes, medical care.
But you are also raising money to build a new shelter. Is this related at all?
Okay, we will have the bricks and the brick forms available if you would like to buy a brick or contribute to the building fund. However, Bark in the Park is strictly to raise medical funds.
Okay.
Because we do have all of our dogs vetted, and we do spay and neuter every dog adopted with a $35 adoption fee.
Right. And that's got to be really important, the spay and neuter part of, of course, to help control the population of animals.
Yes, it is.
In our city. So
we don't want to contribute to the problem, so we want to make sure every dog adopted gets that free spay or neuter.
Right. And I would imagine the medical care for these animals could be pretty significant over the course of a year.
Yes, and we work strictly off donations, and we average about $17,000 to $20,000 a year in medical expenses, and this is getting discounts from the veterinarians. So we have a lot of heartworm cases in Tullahoma, which is caused by a mosquito bite, and it can cost up to $1,000 to treat that one animal.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And then you have your others that may come in sick or injured.
Right.
And then preventative care is very important.
Right. And that's primarily, as I said, that's primarily what this fundraiser, Bark in the Park, is about. But it appears to me, and I've been to several of them, that it's a lot of fun for the dogs and also the owners.
Oh, it's going to be great. This year we're also going to have doggy trick or treat.
Yeah.
So the first 100 or so dogs gets a free trick-or-treating bag.
Yeah.
Very cute. Every dog who enters a game is going to get a free Zany's Fortune ball. And we're just going to have a great time that day. And people and their owners will be able to go to every booth and trick or treat with their dog.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds like fun. Folks, if you don't realize it, these folks down at the Tullahoma Animal Shelter put a lot of work and effort and care, because I think I'm pretty sure that they actually love these animals. So.
Yes, and we're very blessed to have the support of the community, as well as some awesome volunteers.
Yeah. Okay. I don't think we actually told them when the date was and where it is. So
yes, Saturday, October 29th, from 10 until 2.
Okay, from 10 until 2, and at Wagner Park.
Yes.
Okay, at Wagner Park. So you need to check that out, folks. This is a fun event. I try to make it every year. We
look forward to seeing you there.
Yeah. And once again, you guys do just an absolutely wonderful job out there, and that's a great facility. And we hope that we're going to get one even better.
Yes.
And I bet your guys are looking forward to that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially Miss Alicia.
Yeah, I bet. Okay. Well, and don't forget about Stewie here. If you would like to have Stewie be a part of your family, now look, he's been a great dog here today. It's caused isn't he cute, for goodness sakes? And they've given him a great name. I love that name. I got to tell you, I love that. Stewie. So give him a call at 9580-454-9580. That's here in Tullahoma. And the hours of the shelter, by the way, if you want to go by there and check out.
Okay, Monday 7 to 4:30, Tuesday through Friday 7 to 5:30, Saturday 7 to 3:30.
Okay, so if you want to go down there and check out one of the other pets, you can just stop by there during those.
And also online, www.tullahoma.petfinder.com, and also on our Facebook page, Tullahoma Animal Shelter. If you click under the events, you're going to also be able to see our crowns and some of our items for bark in the park.
All right, cool. All right, well, thank you so much. Appreciate you guys coming by here today. Look forward to this event once again this year, and lots of luck, because I know we need to raise a lot of money for that. Folks, we'll be right back with more living right after this.
It's time for every family and business in Tullahoma to go green and recycle. Tullahoma Public Works makes it simple and easy to recycle. Just place your recyclable materials, paper, plastic, aluminum, and cardboard beside your garbage container on the same day your garbage is picked up. Your recycled materials don't have to be in a fancy container. Recycling is not only the right thing to do, it makes sense. Recycling pays. Paying to bury our garbage costs each of us. Please do your part. Let's go green, Tullahoma, and recycle.
Hi, I'm Cindy.
And I'm Jacob. I'm the Rooster.
And I'm the Red Mane. And we would like to welcome you to
Roosterwear.
Yes, Roosterwear is a cottage industry producing accessories for men, women, children, babies, and pets. All items are hand cut and sewn locally. Roosterwear specializes in bow ties, pocket squares, scarves, cufflinks, neckties, and aprons of all sizes for all ages. Baby products include onesies, diaper covers, bibs, and burp pads. All bow ties, tied yourself or pre-tied, come with an adjustable neckband. All products can be made with the material of your choice, as special orders are available upon request. Don't be standing back looking at fashion. Create your own with Roosterwear.
Come visit us at
roosterandredmaiden.com
to find our handcrafted designs for
the cock of the walk.
Everybody has a dream. Mine was to see the ocean. And with a little help, I made it.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
everyone. I'm John Rickman.
And I'm Pat Welch, and here today with Conversation with John and Pat, segment 29, It Shall Be Fine.
Be kind.
Be kind.
Everybody out there, be kind.
John, we had to really stretch last segment to somehow tie your song to the program. Will it be another challenge today?
It's hard to learn a song for everything that we talk about. So let's just like two shows, the music show and then the talk.
And it doesn't necessarily have to tie.
No.
I understand.
No. I'm going to do one, Pat. You've never heard this. John Gray's never heard it. People out there have never heard it because I've wrote it years ago, and that's where it stayed, just in my little mind. And if I can do it right, I think it's a cute little song.
Okay.
We'll find out. You know, every song in Chapel Hill and Marshall County is about an animal. This is about a flogging rooster. I'm so proud I was raised up in the country. Living on the farm's one thing I don't regret. I made friends with the billy goat, the bull, and the mule, but I ain't figured out that flogging rooster yet. I'd be out in the hen house gathering up the eggs when that flogging rooster'd take me by surprise. He would fly down on my head with wings a-flapping, pecking at me, trying his best to spur out both my eyes. When I heard that rooster crow, it was like a battle cry. He'd strut around just sticking out his chest. And what time he wasn't fighting, he'd chase chickens through the barnyard. But I do believe that he liked fighting best. I remember the frustrations of looking out the back door and the games that flogging rooster used to play. I'd be needing in the outhouse, but I dare not take a step with that flogging rooster standing in the way. He'd lost nearly all his feathers from 1,000,000 different fights, the meanest little bird I ever knew. I told my mama if she'd catch it, I'd use my little hatchet and we could dine on flogging rooster stew. When I heard that rooster crow, it was like a battle cry. Strut around just sticking out his chest. And what time he wasn't fighting, he'd chase chickens through the barnyard. But I do believe that he liked fighting best.
I'm not too sure why in the world you buried that in the recess of your mind, John. That's a great song.
Well, sometimes you just don't think about the song, and maybe someday I'll start making that a part of our repertoire. You know, Jimmy, Phil, and I, us two and him, we don't use big words for our song list. But I think repertoire.
One of those, I can understand why.
We don't want to overdo, making it more than it should be.
You gave me a lot more of a segue this time than you did the previous segment, John. Yeah, that's one of my good friends from playing golf is Kenny Pack. And if you get him riled up enough, he's like a flogging rooster. So we'll go right into a conversation about the Packs. And this week, I don't know if you noticed, John, but there was a really, really nice article in the Nashville Tennessean about the Mr. Bill Pack and his 5 sons and what they've meant in football officiating, and also they did a lot of softball and basketball officiating. But primarily they're known for the football. And I think Philip's got a picture of Mr. Bill Pack Sr. He was raised in Tullahoma, was a great salesman for Wilson Golf Equipment. And he was a really, really good man. And I've been corrected again. He was McGregor Golf Equipment.
If you come prepared, Pat, you maybe would know that.
Yeah, let's see if we can't do. Well, I'll try not to mess up any more on this one. That's so bad. Mr. Pack went in the service at World War II and met Ms. Pack, I believe, at some USO festivities in New Jersey, and brought her to town and had 6 children. The first 5 were all boys. All of them were good athletes. And Mr. Pack started refereeing some, I think, while he was still in high school, and as soon as he got back from the war, he was really involved in refereeing. And when I would begin to really know him, would have been the late 70s. I was coaching at Battle Ground Academy, and Mr. Pack was just almost legendary at that time. And he'd been calling for several decades, and some young feisty guy in his 20s or 30s that thought he knew everything about football, and he'd coached in 100 football games or something. Well, just being around Mr. Pack, you knew you need to keep your mouth shut. Mr. Pack had refereed for 5 decades, and he had such a great demeanor. He was absolutely easygoing, completely in control, and at some of the most hated times of a ball game where there might be a questionable call or something, he just could put you completely at ease, or maybe you wish you weren't at ease. But he had such a, and his rulings were final, and nobody questioned. He didn't escalate a situation. He was just so calm.
He was a gentleman.
He really was.
Really was.
He's been elected, and his son Kenny has been elected to the state association, the TSSAA, their Hall of Fames, and Mr. Pack's been inducted in the National High School Association Hall of Fame for his contributions to refereeing. And Kenny and I think some of his other brothers have called OVC games, Ohio Valley Conference games. Yeah. Kenny for a long time was a official there, and they called with some really top-notch officials that were from Middle Tennessee, Burl Crowell, Gabby Street, those kind of people. And they would have called SEC games and SEC basketball games, right. and the stories that Kenny could tell about refereeing trips, and the stories that those guys came along were pretty incredible. Show that that's Mr. Pack and his 5 sons called at least 2 games that I know of together, and that I don't think has ever been done ever in U.S. high school history. And let me see if I can identify the ones on the 2 on the far right that look similar, or the reason why they look similar, they're identical twins, Bob and Dick Pack. Bob lives in Lebanon, and a lot of the interview from the Tennessean was conducted with him. And Dick is next from the right, second from the right. He lives in Tullahoma now. And then next, coming from the right again, is Pat, who's the youngest of those 5 brothers. And then Mr. Pack there, of course. And then Bill, or Billy, or Bill Jr., lives in Chattanooga. And then on the far side is Kenny, our golfing buddy, and akin to the Flogging Rooster. And we were so fortunate to have had them in Tullahoma, and to be honest, the state is fortunate to have them refereeing. I think every one of those boys has called at least one state final football game, and several of them have called several of those.
Jenny, the daughter, is a closing agent, Access Title here in town, right. And she's a great closing agent, right. Too. So
and anybody
let's give her a little credit.
Yeah, everybody is a fine. Well, she probably can referee between the agents and the purchaser and so forth.
Good people.
That's right.
Mr. Pack used to work on scoreboards too. I remember having him over at East years ago.
He did.
A few times along the way, and we had a scoreboard problem. He would work on that. He was a man of many talents, and but we're going to have to wind up.
He was a consummate salesman, John, calm, just like he was refereeing, and he sold for McGregor.
What I like your little story about him one time having a buyer for an answer putter.
He bought a putter from me, and I thought I'd made $1 million, and he had that thing sold for about twice that much in 48 hours, and I'd rather not talk about that anymore, John. And that's the end of segment 29. It was fine.
It was fine.
So you've been meaning to do something healthy, commune with nature, get outdoors and meet new people. We have the perfect solution. Come hike with us. You can find a Tennessee Trails Association chapter near you, including Clarksville, Columbia Franklin, Highland Rim, Jackson, Knoxville, Oak Ridge, Memphis, Murfreesboro, Nashville, Plateau at Crossville, and Upper Cumberland. We're on the web at TennesseeTrails.org. It's fun, it's stress-free, and it's good for you. See you on the trails.
Tired of paying for monthly telephone service, expensive long-distance bills, and all those crazy taxes? Are you sick of spending money on telephone equipment, maintenance contracts, and service calls, all for a phone system that shackles you to 100-year-old technology and your desk? Stop it. It's time to ship your phone system to the cloud. What can the cloud do for you? Bring together remote offices, workers, and employees in the field. Make sure that you'll never miss calls by delivering them to multiple devices. Modernize faxing by allowing multiple faxes to be sent and received at once and delivered to email. Get your voicemail messages instantly through email too. And take advantage of an endless supply of customizable features. Host My Calls can deliver the cloud. All of this technology with low upfront costs and not one penny in capital expense. It's time for a phone solution you'll truly love from Host My Calls. Call the number below.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here, John Gray, and we're on the set today, and I'm really excited about having these two guys here with me today. One of them's name is David Gogo, and he is an award-winning blues guitarist from Canada. And the other one is my friend Scott McLeod, and Scott's probably one of the best, if not the best, bass player I've ever heard in my life. And he originally is from Canada. And these two guys were friends. And our friends, but played together at one point.
Yeah. We did.
And for quite some time. And, you know, Dave here has played with Johnny Winter, B.B. King, been on stage with people like Buddy Guy.
Jeff Healey.
Yeah, all of
Collins,
these fantastic. Bo Diddley. And has a picture on his website. If you go to his website, you'll see a picture of Dave with Stevie Ray Vaughan. And matter of fact, I think you were wearing a belt that Stevie Ray gave you or something like that.
Yeah, I was 15 years old the first time I met him, and we just seemed to really get along. And so, yeah, he gave me this kind of Mexican embroidered belt, and still have it.
Can you get it on still?
Oh, yeah. It was big. It was extra wide. No extensions? Yeah.
Well, good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. Dave, what got you started in on this journey?
Well, I can't remember a time where I didn't either have a guitar or a toy guitar. And it was seeing Elvis Presley the first time, actually seeing him on TV. But it made me want to play the guitar and not be a singer, which is a funny thing. But just seeing those pictures of young Elvis and as my parents got me, actually first they got me a ukulele because I was too small to hold a guitar, but I never really learned how to play like a proper ukulele chord or anything. But just it was just something that was always in my life and something I've always done. You know, after Elvis started listening to the 60s rock and roll bands and then realized that a lot of those guys, especially the British bands, had a big blues root. And my dad had records. You know, he had CCR records, he had a couple of Hank Williams records, but he also had like Otis Redding and B.B. King and Canned Heat. So through these 60s rock bands, I kind of traced their sound back. Oh, that kind of reminds me of that B.B. King thing, or, you know, maybe a Taj Mahal. And so just started to get into blues.
And a lot of that stuff really started from the blues roots. Even Elvis, a lot of his things, and you know, along in that time was Jerry Lee Lewis and some of these guys who went to these old Delta honky tonks and listened and learned how to play. And So you were doing this through high school. When did you start doing it, playing out? Like, we had garage bands here when I was growing up.
I did that, yeah, for sure. But it was funny because a lot of the guys my age weren't into playing, or they were just starting to play. So when I was about 14, I played with some guys that were a couple years older than me, and we put on a couple dances ourselves. Just would rent out the Scout Hall or something, because one of the guys was probably still in Scouts, and do our own gig, and then I started, playing with guys who were, a little older than me, mostly because I'm from the west coast of Canada. We met these kind of hippie dudes, and they were the most accepting. They would just say, "Oh, you can play." Well, we all got together and jam every Saturday at this guy's house, and I'd show up with a friend of mine who was a year older than me who played drums, and then through there we started getting gigs in the local bars. So by the time I was 16, I'd formed my first real band and was working professionally. Back then in my hometown of Nanaimo, you could play, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday at Frisco's, and then the next week go up to the Commercial and do a 7-nighter.
It's a whole circuit right in the town, pretty much.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's almost like the Beatles in Hamburg. You had to play 4 sets a night, 7 nights a week, and you get your chops down.
Yeah. Now, did you live out west as well, Scott?
Well, I was born in Toronto, Ontario. When I was in my early 20s, I moved out to Vancouver. Did the rock star thing for about 10 years in Vancouver and all over the Western Canada. Then settled down in Nanaimo, and I got pretty much right into the retail business. I did a lot of playing and sessions, but I got into the retail business just to give myself some foundation. And I kept hearing about this David Gogo kid, right? And it's like, okay, well, hopefully he's going to come into the store sometime. Man, you should hear this kid. You should hear this kid, right? And I say kid because he's a little younger than me, right? And I was extremely young when I started working in the music store. So, he came in and we started talking, and we got along really good. And so I started going out and seeing some of the bands. And Dave always had, Nanaimo was a real hotbed for musicians, so he always had good players with him, good bass players and drummers and all this, and keyboard players. And so I saw him with the Persuaders. No, what was that name of the band that you had? Yeah, and they played the Queens and stuff, so we'd pop in and say, man, this guy is good. So he was a customer of mine, and his inspiration started very young. It really did. So that's how I got to know him. And a number of years later, we kind of got together, did some playing together, and some Mississippi blues, Delta blues. The blues sends a big ripple all the way up to 2,500 miles up into Canada, too, and beyond. And Dave's heart was always in the blues, man, I tell you. That's how I know this guy.
All right. Well, now, did you go to college, or did you make your music choice? And
I knew. I was doing shows all through high school. Rather than delivering pizzas or something, I was playing gigs. So there is a very good music program in Nanaimo in their university. People like Diana Krall come through that. Yep. But I wanted to go on the road.
Right.
So I said to my parents, instead of you paying for me to go to music college, how about I just go on the road and you can shoot me a couple bucks every now and then, And same thing back then. The circuit in Western Canada was very good, and I had a band, and we were all really good players. But we thought, we're from this small town of Nanaimo, and so we tried to play the next town that was bigger, Victoria, and we found. At first we thought, geez, we might be intimidated. There's some really good players there. But we found we did just fine. And then we moved to Vancouver. We did just fine. So we got an agent. And back then, same thing. You go up, you could do Calgary for 4 or 5 nights, go up to Edmonton and do a week, get these little, maybe a couple of days off in between. We started going through the prairies of Canada. And it was exciting, man. There was a lot of work. And like I say, just learning your chops because you just love doing it and you love playing. And it was interesting, too, because then you go and you meet new people and go to these new towns. And so I'm still doing it.
Congratulations! Well, I mean, no, really. Yeah. I mean, there's so many people, and I have a friend that I write with that's a working musician as well, and I mean, he's not a radio star or anything like that, but he's a guy who works. He plays 6 days a week, every week, and it's amazing to me that a lot of those. I don't want to call them B-level musicians because they're not. A lot of those people are better musicians than the people that you hear on the radio. And better performers, but they just don't know the right folks. They're great players.
Yeah.
They're great players.
Well, it's a little more difficult up in Canada these days because there just isn't as many gigs, especially in the front ends of the week.
Right.
So it's difficult to keep one band together. So what I do at this point is I have one band on the West Coast, one band in Ottawa, and then actually have another band in Holland. And then occasionally I'll do I do solo shows as well. I've got an old 1930 National Steel guitar, and that's a whole other thing that I do. So I just kind of have to come up. I have to be the musician plus the agent plus the manager, the promoter, the travel agent, and I just try to say, okay, I tell my one band I'm going to be out here doing this, a couple of weeks with that band. Then I'm going to fly out to Ontario and do a couple of weeks there. Then I'm going to do a solo tour in the prairies. So it's you got to wear a lot of hats.
Yeah. You have instruments and amplifiers also waiting for you in these places, so that you don't have to travel with them as well on the planes.
So. Right, and most people do stuff like that now. I mean, most of the time guys show up with their guitars or whatever they have, their main baby that they carry with them, and the rest of it's cartaged in.
Call up Bob Young and he comes and brings an amp.
Call up my buddy Bob Young sitting out here in the audience.
Absolutely.
He'll bring an amp in for us.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're down here in Tennessee because you wanted to spend a little time in Nashville and maybe do some writing there, reacquaint yourself with some people there?
Yeah, I haven't been to Nashville in about 10 years, but there's a lot of Canadians living around there now, both playing music and producing music and having studios happening. So my last record came out about a year ago last month. So it's time for me to start thinking about writing again. And that's, it's a big thing. I've made 14 albums, so you try to get the inspiration. So I thought I had 6 days off on the road up in Ontario, and I thought I'm going to head down to Nashville and just see what I can dig up, because it's been a while. But so Scotty's living down here, so he's helping me out and getting me on a program like this and showing me some of the sites. And then I've got mostly other Canadians, but there's one other American guy that I'm going to try to get some writing done with, and just kind of, it's more of a fact-finding mission this week, and see what connections I can make and what interest I can get, and then hopefully, fingers crossed, come back down again in January, but really serious this time, like setting up songwriting appointments, and that'll be the main focus. Where this time I'm kind of, the last couple of nights I've been checking out other bands and, kind of
having fun,
being a tourist.
Yeah,
why not?
Take a little vacation.
Yeah,
he's in the heart of the South in Tullahoma.
That's right.
This is a hotbed of amazing musicians and great people, and the vibe down here is unbelievable. So I kind of wanted to get him down into the heartland here, the real thing,
Well, and because a lot of the Nashville musicians and the good pickers, and a lot of the, we live in an area that's this Middle Tennessee area is just, it's great. We have all 4 seasons. The weather's never really that hot, and it's never really that cold, and there's a lot of beautiful land here to look at, and a lot of the Nashville people are moving down toward here in Bell Buckle and Beech Grove and buying farms and stuff. So you never know who you're going to see. You might see David Gogo, you might see Alan Jackson. Or Jackson Brown. I mean, you just never know who you're going to see, and just walk through the door of a store, in a convenience store or whatever, and so they're finding Bob Young's jam night at Daddy Billy's, and some nights there'll be 6 or 8 guys coming in with guitar cases. They look like the mafia to me. You never know what they're going to have. They all got their weapon inside. And some of them are old and crusty looking, and some of them are 16 years old, like our buddy Chase Clanton, and it's just wonderful to see all these people come together and share their talent and their chops with each other, and it's just a great thing.
Smoking tobacco accounts for 3 of every 10 fire deaths in the United States.
Tullahoma Fire Department needs you en route to a structure fire, 202 Main Street. Heavy smoke showing. Neighbors advise child trapped inside.
Lighters, matches, and associated smoking paraphernalia are the leading cause of preschooler fire deaths. We as firefighters know that most structure fires can be prevented.
I've got one! Command, this is primary search. We have a victim. Need EMS to meet us at the front door.
Please help us to give you a fighting chance. This can be prevented. Contact the Tullahoma Fire Department for a free home safety inspection.
What's a Tennessee vacation? It starts off like any road trip, and then, boom, adventure and thrills everywhere you look, which happens to be some of the most beautiful scenery in the country. Music here, history there, and all kinds of green in between. Come relax and unwind, or bring the crowd for some stargazing. Or stargazing. Whatever you do, come hungry and expect an awesome soundtrack. It's all right here in Tennessee. We're playing your song. For a free vacation guide, visit tnvacation.com.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
Yeah, and that's how I started, excuse me, is getting up and going to these jams and playing with guys that are more experienced than me, and it's fun.
Well, what I'd like to hear right now is a little music from you two guys. You think we can pull that off?
Yeah. Yeah, my latest album actually I got inspired when I did a trip 4 years ago down, mostly through Mississippi. And so the album's actually called Vicksburg Call, even though I never made it to Vicksburg. But we'll do a song off that record. This one's called...
All right. Just a second. It's called what?
Vicksburg Call.
All right.
1, 2, 3. Are you fooling with me, baby, or have I just been fooling myself? Are you fooling with me, baby, or have I just been fooling myself? If you're gonna change your mind, no doubt, go and find someone else. We were together for so long, no, but then we had to part. We were together for so long, no, but then we had to part. Well, if you're gonna change your mind, mama, please don't break my heart. Oh, don't do it. Yeah. Time you didn't want nobody but me. Yes, now want there was the time you didn't want nobody but me. Well, if you're gonna change your mind, baby, please just let me be. Let me be, baby. Been fooling myself. Are you fooling with me, baby? Have I just been fooling myself? If you're gonna change your mind, don't I go and find someone else? 5 again. If you're gonna change your mind, don't I go and find someone else? One more. If you're gonna change your mind, don't I go and find someone else? One, 2. Yeah.
I remember the first time, baby, when things didn't go your way. You kicked me out of your house, but you begged me back the next day. Well, this time, baby, I won't be there to take the blame. You had a good for so long, baby, now things are about to change. Well, now many people warn me about the crazy things you do. I didn't believe it back then, mama, but every word they said came true. Well, this time, baby, I won't be there to take the blame. You had a good for so long, mama, now things are about to change. Many people warn me about the crazy things you do. I didn't believe it back then, mama, but every word they said came true. Well, this time, baby, I won't be there to take the blame. Well, you had a good for so long, woman, and now things are about to change.
All right, folks, I don't know about you, but as far as I'm concerned, that was nothing short of great right there, guys.
Thank you.
Very, very good. Now I can see where the awards come from.
Yeah, actually, I'm up for another one this coming weekend up in Canada, but I wasn't able to attend. But it's always nice, to get nominated for awards like that. Like some people say, does it really mean something to you? I said, yeah, why not?
Well, it means that the people who listen to what you do and enjoy what you do are giving you the nod, saying you did good.
Yeah, keep going.
Make it or not, win or not, just to be nominated for something like that is a great honor. Because there's thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people in little bars and garages and in their living rooms, banging around on guitars and for you to be one of those chosen few that you get nominated is a very huge honor.
Yeah.
And when you do something your whole life, it's kind of nice to have somebody say, "Hey,
yeah,
you've done a good job, fella."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, my latest album was up for a Juno Award in Canada, and that's our version of the Grammy.
Oh, wonderful.
So far I've had 5 losses and 1 disqualification when it comes to Juno Awards. So
I had one nomination or a consideration for a Grammy.
Oh, really?
2 years ago.
Oh, cool.
And, just to be in that conversation is
incredible.
A very good thing, and makes you feel very honored to be able to just be talked about like that.
Yeah, and I think it encourages, because to me, every time there's a nomination like that, some people, they look at it as like, oh, they can, just kind of sit and, I go, okay, what's next? We got to match this.
Oh, yeah,
the next project has to be.
Makes you want to start working harder.
Just as good, yeah.
Because,
sure.
the thrill, there's a thrill that and a high that goes along with that, that's irreplaceable.
Yeah. It's true.
It's true. And it causes you to.
The reviews on David's last album were through the roof.
Right.
Which means there are people listening, there are critics listening, and the critics are giving it a 5-star, 2 thumbs up, which brings out the fans, which it all, comes together as having a wonderful fan base, digging their guy from a little old Nanaimo.
Right.
But, the reviews on the last album were just fantastic, and rightfully so.
But that always doesn't translate to the music moguls who make the decisions about who wins what and who gets what.
But I was lucky because it had been a long time since we got any kind of mainstream radio play in Canada. There's specialty stations that'll play blues, but a radio station near my hometown, they just decided, I guess they'd heard, read some of the reviews and checked it out, and they decided to start playing the title track and got it into regular rotation. And that helps, because I remember the next time we played Victoria, like maybe after they'd been playing the song for about 6 weeks, we were playing a show. It was a venue that was new to me, and it was a pretty big venue. And we were basically just working for the door. And then I found out that ZZ Top was playing in town the same night. So I panicked because I think, oh man,
no door.
Yeah, everyone's going to go see ZZ Top. But you know what? It was the best attended event I've ever had in Victoria. And 75% of the people that I talked to during the break that wanted to buy a CD that heard the song on the radio. So it just shows
it makes a whole lot of difference.
You get a tune on the radio, it really opens up the doors.
Makes a whole lot of difference. Well, thanks for being here today, and Scott, thank you so much for your number one for your friendship and your talent. And it's been a pleasure knowing you and since you've been around and to bring this guy here, I mean.
Well, I've been doing the Blues Jam at Daddy Billy's for about a year now with Bob, and I tell you, I've always bragged about David, and it's like this is an absolute godsend to be able to have him come down here, come down to Tullahoma, where I respect so many of the local folks and the musicians and everybody down here, welcoming him in and embracing him, and it's just been a pleasure.
I better not screw up, I guess.
You won't. And we, we expect you when you come back in January to come back down and see us.
Oh, I'd love to.
Know how things are going. You're always welcome.
Thank you.
And all I can do is say appreciate it. Thanks for coming by.
Thanks for having me on.
Scott, buddy.
Hey, John,
thank you. Appreciate you. And we'll see you guys tonight at Daddy Billy's.
All right.
Okay.
Fantastic.
All right, folks. This has been another good one. We'll be back.
At the time, maybe you were just building a bridge, a business, or a community. Maybe you were simply working for a home or a better tomorrow. At the time, you served out of duty and love of country. But in that time, we see a legacy created, an American dream lived. The rehab team at Life Care Center of Tullahoma is ready to help you live well.
There's no place like home.
Getting home safely is just a click away. And choosing the right seat for your little one's age and size will take you down the road to safer travels.
How can I ever thank you enough?
Visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat.
I'm meteorologist Leland Statham from the News Channel 5 Weather Center. Look to Jim Fuller and crew for local news night here on Channel 6.
Good morning, everybody. All you wonderful people in TV land, thank you for that introduction, John, and our camera ladies, good morning to all y'all, and it's a beautiful day. And one of the parts of history that's part of everybody's life and has been forever and still continues to be, and that is the grocery stores in Tullahoma. Grocery stores. I was raised in a grocery store. Cut my baby teeth on a potato hamper when I was growing up. But you know, in the 100 block of North Atlantic and the 100 block of West Lincoln and the 2 blocks that join them both ways, 20 years ago, you could get anything you need in the world. Groceries, your car repair, your gasoline, clothes, dime stores, hardware stores, the whole works. And now, with the changing of time and growth and progress, why, of course, people walked all the time back then, and they would get their goods right downtown. And the mobile society that we live in today, people go everywhere in their cars to shop or for pleasure or for whatever. But back to groceries. Some people thought the first Kroger store was over where the Dollar General store is on South Atlantic Street. But the truth of the matter is the first Kroger store was located where the Tennessee Shoe Repair is on Atlantic, 100 block of North Atlantic Street. And next door to it was, on the north side, was H.G. Hill. And toward the bank was where Daddy Billy's is located now, was W.J. Couch and Company. And that was one of the earliest grocery stores downtown in Tullahoma. Mr. Moat Ross had a grocery store over on Lincoln Street. Bill Jones later had one on Lincoln and South Jackson Street. One of the first drive-in grocery stores was the S.W. Stone's store on Wilson Avenue. I believe it was called the Minute Saver. And Speedy Sack or Speedy's was Bill Tips over on West Lincoln Street. And then they had little bitty grocery stores like Marvin Sawyer's store on Hogan Street, where the used to be a drugstore on that location. But they made a great contribution to Tullahoma. Early grocery stores had delivery service and had credit. But now, you know, in our society today, almost everything that we buy is pre-packaged, or you got to pay for it before you get it. You know, this time of year traditionally has been the time of year when crystallized fruit came to the grocery stores for ladies to make fruit cakes for Thanksgiving and Christmas. And all that fruit came in big pine boxes wrapped in wax paper. And the cherries and the pineapple and the apples and all that sort of thing came that way. But now everything is prepackaged. We weighed up corn, and we weighed up flour and meal and beans and the whole works, potatoes. But now all of it is prepackaged. Let me quickly give you, if you are old enough to remember, that we ground and roasted our own coffee at Daddy Billy's grocery store and sold it for 10 cents a pound and 3 pounds for a quarter. The potatoes were a 20-pound bag for a quarter, and sorghum was 50 cents a gallon. Veal chops, 15 cents a pound. Let's see. You know, one of the highest priced products today is Post Toasties and cereal, but in 1934 you get 2 big boxes of cereal for a quarter. Those were good days, you know, but of course money has changed a whole lot. And just get real hungry, go to the grocery store and get your load of groceries and enjoy them. And this is not the end of the story, because there's a whole lot more to come. We thank you for watching, and we'll be seeing you next week with a whole lot more. Thank you, and everybody have a good day.
your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network. All right, folks, we're back. Want to mention a couple of things. Tullahoma High School is playing football at Pearl Cone this Friday night. So if you're of a nature to go to Nashville, let's support the Wildcats at Pearl Cone and have a good time.
Oh, yeah.
Win. Maybe we win. I don't know. Pearl Cone's been beating people 70-something to nothing, so
yeah,
who
but
knows?
Still, it's not
we'll
about
just go play.
It's not winning or losing. It's how well you play the game, right? Or something like that. What is it?
That was written by a loser.
Oh, wait. But Charlie Brown said, winning isn't everything, losing isn't anything.
Right,
but,
right. Yeah. No, it's how you play. And our boys have been, they've struggled, but they've been playing hard.
And they'll be tough next year.
Yes, they will.
They'll be a little older.
They'll be better next year.
They're facing a lot of
freshman team's winning, and the
problems.
Junior varsity's winning, and the ninth grade team's winning.
Good.
So or eighth grade team's winning. So this is. I don't mean for this to be more remorseful, but this is a little something I wrote this weekend. Loku number 52. I have almost seen a generation put to rest as this train rolls faster and faster toward my final destination. These days, I attend way too many funerals. And it seems like there's...
I
was thinking about my dad because he was a member of the Greatest Generation, and that whole bunch of people's...
They're all gone.
They're just about all gone. And we thank them for their service and for their dedication to this country we live in. Research and vote.
Oh, yeah.
Research and vote. See you next time.